Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the sit down. Today's episode is about for sale by owner, also referred to as Fsbo. So, if you've ever heard the term Fsbo, that's what it means. If you didn't know, now you know. So, with this topic, a lot of people have been asking me questions about for sale by owner, and I wanted to address this. Also, if you have any stories, anything you can share, please like, comment below, just so that we can have an open conversation about this. I want to keep it open for everybody. And ultimately, I want to share that experience with everybody so everybody understands what this is and can get the most out of it. Now, pride. And I want to talk on this with for sale by owners. A lot of people want to do things themselves, and I'm one of those people as well. I will be the first to tell you, I'm one of those people where if I don't think it's done right, I will do it myself. I'm guilty of that. But let me just start by saying, if you are doing this yourself, I've heard this multiple times, and I've heard this from multiple Fsbos or for sale by owners. They'll say, "Oh, I got a couple bites from people in my neighborhood." And anyone who's a real estate agent knows that a couple bites in your neighborhood is such a small, limited market. So, first point on this is limited exposure. If you are doing this yourself, you're going to have limited exposure. You're not going to be able to market into the channels that a real estate market is going to allow you to do. A real estate agent is going to be able to bring you buyers from all over the place. Their market is a little bit bigger than your neighborhood. So keep that in mind. And here's the thing is, like, buyers can come from all over and it's going to bring the masses. I would imagine if you're, let's say, a fisherman, you would probably want to go where the fish are. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do a for sale by owner, know that you are going to lose a lot of exposure. Now, next point number 2. If you are doing a for sale by owner, you have to recognize 80% of buyers in this market are working actively with a real estate agent. So they have an agent who they're working with and going property to property with a real estate agent. And they're smart too, because if they're a first-time home buyer, you want to be working with a professional to guide you through this process. It's not that easy to just buy a house. There's quite a few steps that go along the way to do so. So, and I will touch on that on another video. But 80%, the rest of the 20%, where are they at? They're in the incubator phase. They're still in contact with an agent, but they're not actively searching. 20% are in that not ready to get a pre-approval phase. They're still working out their credit score. They're in an incubator phase getting ready to buy. 80% are active with agents. So you want to be in that position where you go where the buyers are. So if you're doing a for sale by owner, you could actively miss a lot of where the best qualified buyers are. You could miss that whole market because it's something that you think you could do yourself. And here's the thing. You probably ultimately could do anything you want yourself. But my next phase here is that if you do it yourself, you're going to get a bad result. I could go out and do my roof myself. That doesn't mean it's going to be good. I'm not a roofer, not even a contractor. I'm not hopping on my roof and thinking I can fix it. But when you work with a professional, recognize this. Part number 3 on this, you're going to get their team. And here's the thing, with working with a real estate agent, it's not that they're not guaranteeing. They're so sure that this works that you don't pay anything up front, you don't pay half up front, you're getting a service that ultimately they work with you, they take time with you, and nothing is paid up front. Not like, let's say you were a contractor. Most people have gotten anything done, it's half up front. It's pretty standard. Half up front, half at the end. I mean, a lot of contractors are like that. This is nothing up front, pay at the end. So you get to see the magic work. Now, when you're a for sale by owner, I would imagine you don't have a team of experts. You probably don't have a real estate attorney. You probably don't have a surveyor. Probably don't have a title company. Probably don't have contractors, handymen. Let's take, let's say septic and well. Do you have a person who you call? So you're going to get the benefit of this agent's entire network just for working with them. You get their A team. Now, when you're a for sale by owner, recognize, do not expect, if you do this yourself, to get an A plus basically performance when your team is operating at a lower level. You're only going to get that result if you're working with an A team, getting that rock star right from the start, getting that solid team, and getting connected with them so that you can produce a rock star result. So you can produce that A plus, deal. And ultimately it happens. I mean, there are people who can go out and close property in, 25 days because you have a rock star team. But there's people who are kicking around for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I mean, and that's the thing is like, it really depends on the quality of your team and there's no due diligence factor. So keep that in mind. Number 4, never leave money on the table. And this is the biggest reason I don't recommend doing a for sale by owner is because I'm going to tell you this is that when it comes to the negotiation factor, you're not going to get the exposure, which means you're not going to get the foot traffic, which means ultimately your property is going to sit. And if it sits, it's dying. It's dying in the water. Slow and steady does not win the race in real estate. Slow and steady gets you an underbid. That's what it's always going to get you 9 times out of 10. If your property is sitting for a month, everyone is afraid of you. Everybody. Literally everyone in the market is terrified of you. And you're going to start losing money. Your presentation's not going to be that great. And you're leaving money on the table. When ultimately, you could have gotten maybe, let's say, the typical listing will probably go, basically, it'll sell in less than a week. Most of the time. You're working with a good agent, it's going to go in probably a weekend sometimes. Depends. Really depends. But let's just say it's going to go quick. Especially in this specific market, it'll go quick. If your property's sitting for a month because you're a for sale by owner, it's not the market. It's how you presented it. So just keep that in mind. And you're going to lose so much money at the end of the day because it's like any big purchase. People don't want to buy a Lamborghini and have dirt all over it. It's just not what you want. People want to buy a Lamborghini because it's a nice $100,000 car that is luxury. It looks nice. You're happy about it. You're proud about this purchase. So that's the thing is like, do the extra steps that create a meaningful, memorable, and really genuine transaction so that everyone feels good about it. When you're doing it yourself, you're cutting the corners, people notice. People are going to notice that. And we're not talking like a house is $5,000. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to make sure that it's done right. You want to make sure that all the paperwork is done. And the thing is, you're limiting a level of liability when you work with an agent because they're going to tell you what to do, how to protect yourself. And ultimately, let's talk about actually having that resource to say, hey, I don't know if I should disclose this. There's, a crack on the side of the wall. Yes, you need to disclose that. And an agent will be able to tell you that. it's a material defect. Yes, absolutely. We need to put that in the property condition disclosures. And if you're a for sale by owner, maybe you don't think about that. You don't think about it. It's like, oh, well, no one told me. Well, ultimately, no one cares if no one told you if you're a for sale by owner. You opened yourself up for that liability. And an agent can actually help limit and mitigate some of that liability for you. Now, my last thing here is the listing presentation. Now, this is where it counts. Because remember this, when you're doing your listing presentation and you're going through things like staging, declutter, marketing, and ultimately what you're doing at this point is you're adding value to the property. And what is the definition of value? Value is ultimately defined as what someone is willing to pay for a specific item. That's value. Not necessarily what you paid for, but what's value. And what you're doing by hiring a professional to come in, look at your property, evaluate it, and do their marketing procedure, listing, staging, decluttering, you are now adding value. Professional photos, videos, everything. I mean, I pay for ads. So like, no matter what you're doing, you're adding value to the property just by doing these things. And that is going to increase your net proceeds that you are going to get at the end after all your closing costs, everything. And I'm going to say this. I've never seen a seller work with an agent and go, oh, I'm so disappointed. They made me $40,000 over than I thought. I've never seen someone get really upset about this, where they were like, their experience they weren't completely satisfied and happy with the result of this process ever. I've never seen anyone do this. Now, granted, I've seen a lot of for sale by owners lose tens of thousands of dollars. I've even seen some lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because they ultimately do not know any better, because it's not their field. Much like I'm not a roofer. I'm not hopping on the roof, fixing it up. Granted, I could. Sure, I could do that. I'll hop up there right now, start fixing the roof, but I'm not going to do that because I don't have the expertise. I'm not a professional, and I actually just want it to get done the right way. Now, again, this is an open conversation, so if you have stories on for sale by owners, if you did do a for sale by owner, please comment your story below, like this video, and if you ever need anything, you have any questions, please reach out to me. And as always, stay free.